Hello? Hello? Oh boy, I think I'm still on a call with him. He's gonna make fun of me. I can't get out. I No, hang up.
How many times do you have to play this? Is this going to be a weekly thing?
Hello, and welcome back to the Basement Podcast. That is Marty Morningwig, and I am
Uh,
Charlie Bash. And
yeah,
we
the
are,
Lions offense, like that phone call right there, me on the phone trying to get out of that was the Lions offense during the Marty Morningwig era. That
we are,
was it
bro-
right there. Hello.
we are
Oh, how do I
broadcast. We are broadcasting from Friendship Village, which is
Whoa. Okay.
a retirement community that I worked in. Well, I barely worked there. I
Was that your
that,
first job?
that was my first job
You were
that I
washing dishes, weren't you?
was washing dishes. And we're broadcasting from Friendship Village because, as you can tell from that voicemail that Andy left me, Andy is aging at a
Rapid
pace
clip.
that
Yeah, it's going downhill. And by downhill, I mean falling off a cliff. Yeah.
he's aging at
What
a
is
rap.
what is the speed of gravity? 32 feet per second. That's where I'm at. Yeah.
He's aging at a
32 years a second.
concerning pace. He's aging at a concerning pace, and so I'm at Friendship Village to do a little research, and I was observing some of the old folks, and I just wanted to come up with a list of a few things of like, here are some signs that you're getting old. And Andy, I'm going to read you my list, my
Yeah,
observations.
so right. So you're going, how many boxes am I checking
Which ones
on this list?
apply to you? And then I'd like to hear if you
Yep.
have any more. All right. So I'm just going
Yeah,
to read the
let's do it.
list and you're going to tell me, do these things apply to you?
Do I fit the bill? Yep.
You know you're getting old if you've become obsessed with your fiber intake. You know you're getting old. Do you just want me to read them and you
Do you
can
want me
just
to go
say,
one by one? Do you want me to go one by one?
just a quick reply?
I
Does this
think that'd be
apply to you or
appropriate.
no?
It did. I know. I'm okay at this point in time. However, I do. I'm sure it's going to come up a little bit later on the list. I have given up all alcohol for the time being to reduce inflammation in my body, hoping that it will help with my chronic back issues.
Got it.
So it's not a fiber per se. I'm not laser focused on fiber intake, but there are thoughts toward just general nutritional value of food and is it causing more problems?
Wow. I can't believe
That is a
that one actually applies to me more than it applies to you. Maybe I'm the
yeah,
old one.
yeah. I'm good. I'm
All
good.
right.
My morning coffee, I'm fine. It's all the pipes are moving stuff
Okay.
along. Yeah, we're
Great.
good. Yeah.
You know you're getting old if you start taking pro like if you start taking prep naps to go out.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
That's I have been that
Uh
way for quite some time, actually.
yeah, I've been taking those we when we're home for the summer, my wife and I we teach overseas, we come home to the United States, well we come back to the United States, our home is overseas. We come back to the United States for the summer and we just meet up with friends and family. And so, like, every night you're going out and doing something with somebody. And so, these past 3 weeks that we've been home, yes, I take a nap every single day, knowing that we're not going to get back till about 9 or 10,
How
which is
how
past
long
bedtime for me.
how long is the nap? And when do you take the
And,
nap?
and I mean, anywhere between 30 minutes an hour. And I have to be fair, like, I'm not always successful with the nap. Like, I lay down with the intention of taking a nap, but I don't always fall asleep.
What time does the nap take place?
Oh, it varies. I already took one today, or at least tried at 11 a.m. That one was unsuccessful. I rolled around for about a half an hour. I was texting with you during that time as well, which didn't help the effort. Yesterday was 2 in the afternoon. No, 1:30, because I woke up around 2:20 to watch the World Cup game, which was interesting. It was a good game. That was interesting.
All right.
But yeah, prep naps,
Prep
check.
naps are good.
100%.
Prep naps are important. Uh,
Yeah.
you've turned on the subtitles with the TV. Now, this one,
Always. Yeah,
really,
always.
always.
Yeah, they're always on.
I will
Now,
say
some of
that
that's,
some
yeah,
of
go
that
ahead.
is due to like modern television seems to be getting worse at like
Yeah,
I just don't think it's as good anymore. So you kind of need subtitles a lot. But I don't, but
yeah.
that maybe just be maybe I'm getting old.
I
But it
think
seems like a lot of the kiddos.
they use it as well.
Yeah.
I have noticed that the Utes they have the captions on, and as a teacher, I always turn them on. Now that's for pedagogical reasons of like help the English language learners to be able to read it and hear it at the same time. I think there's a confluence of factors that have led to me having the captions on all the time. One is I am getting hard of hearing, which that should be on your list as well, is check.
That's an
I
obvious
have
one.
serious hearing problems. My father-in-law is mostly deaf, and so the captions are always on if we're watching TV in their house. And I would say what you just said is modern production value sucks. Like it's just muffled. You can't hear what they're saying. I always have the captions on, save for baseball. I do not turn them on during a most sport. I don't turn them on during a sporting event, just because I don't want the caption box getting in the way of the
The
action.
action.
I don't
The
need to
action, yeah.
necessarily. Yeah, I don't necessarily need to hear what the commentators are saying, unless it's Boog and JD, but they're crystal clear.
They
They are
are.
crisp. They enunciate. It's all good with Boog and JD. I don't need the captions on because I hear all of their melodious tones coming through loud and clear.
All right. When you go to the grocery store, now this one,
Yeah,
when you go to the grocery store and they move something, you get like
I hate it. Yeah,
legitimately angry.
no, I
Like you shake
complain.
your fist at the sky and
Yeah,
go,
yeah, yeah. I don't understand it. I like it made sense in this spot. I got used to it in that spot. I think humans are conservative by nature. We like familiarity, and that is no more there. That is not as clear as in a grocery store.
when I
Like
was when I was
that is the height of it. Is I want this to be here. I want this to be here because I know exactly where to go. I have my routine. I have my pattern. I have my pathway laid out for me in the grocery store. And when they mess with that, it's Armageddon. All hell is broken loose at that point in time.
I think that when we go back to Michigan, I'm gonna sit down with Tyler and just maybe even I'll go in. So I was interviewing some people at Friendship Village, and they said that this one was a big one for them. They were like, "This one is really important." Uh,
Yeah.
and I started getting in my mind of thinking like Tyler, my best friend Tyler, who's going to get married next weekend. Congratulations,
Yeah.
Tyler. Um, I'm thinking about going into him and be like, can we just move some stuff around just for fun and just
Well, it's sociological experiment. I
see
as well
some
get Brad
people's,
Breams in there to
yeah,
start documenting some
he's
things of
writing
how do
some.
people react
It's
when you have
interesting.
moved stuff around
Brad
in the
Breams was
groceries.
Brad Breams was one of the people I interviewed at Friendship Village.
Of course he was. Yeah.
All right, on to the next one on the list. Uh, you get annoyed. Well, this one doesn't apply to you or me as much, but I think we both would resonate with it. You
We're
get annoyed
we're
when
gonna get
someone,
there.
yeah, when you get annoyed when someone parks in front of your house. Like you, we weren't. Back to thinking about Trotwood. It's like if I were dad when we lived at Trotwood, I think I would
Yeah.
get annoyed if somebody random just parked in front of our house.
I would
We
agree
had a
with that.
long driveway, but it's like still don't park in front of my house.
I agree. Neither you or I are property owners at this point in time, so this one doesn't apply to us as
No.
much. Especially me living in a city in an apartment, like this one doesn't apply. However, if I win, I do own a house someday, Lord willing. Yeah, I will be like, what are you doing?
No, no,
Like,
no. You could
if it's a stranger, like obviously if I'm having guests over, that is expected. You park right
right,
on the curb
right,
there.
right.
Like, okay, right, fine, that's fine. But oh yeah, random person, no, 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 no. You go park by your friends. You go park in front of their house.
Yeah, I would get really annoyed. I think that would really annoy me. All
Yeah.
right, last one, and this one I thought was very apropos because literally every person at Friendship Village. I even went down to like the wing of people where they were like assisted living plus, like they were in
The,
the hospital wing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
every single person, even the people in the dining room where I interviewed them, and then the people in their beds, they said this as well. Sign of getting old. All of them said bird photography, which you have gotten into. You're
Oh
like
yeah,
into now. You
that's been years. No,
birding and
that's been a few years
photography.
now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The thing about bird photography is if you just get into birding, that's a sign that you're old. If you get into photography, that's a
Yeah,
sign that you're old. But the mix of the two is really, really a
yeah.
special sight. And
I mean,
you, sir, are a bird
well,
photographer.
commitment as well because you got to get the certain lenses. Yeah, so you have to get certain lenses. Well, I think the kind of the gradual slope into it, the segue into it is kind of you get a nice pair of binoculars. I have a very nice pair of binoculars. So I think it starts with I think there's two streams again, a confluence of these streams here. It's like I was into photography, and then I got into birding, and then it just is a natural hand in hand hand in glove, whatever analogy you want to use there. Don't have my words. But no, bird photography is fantastic. And yeah, it's definitely a sign that I'm old, but hey, I'm there. I'm checking
You're
off
there.
most of these boxes on your list.
Well, that's the list. I think you can move into Friendship Village now. I think they have a room for you,
Fantastic.
and we're ready. We're ready to just make that transition now. So that has been the open of the
Good.
show. We just
Good.
explore how I think Andy checked all the boxes. So we can
Yeah.
officially say,
Officially old.
and we can open the show. Every single open is going to have that voicemail starting. That's just going to be our theme music leading into the show.
Yeah.
Hello?
Ironically enough, you
Oh
didn't have anything
no.
on the list. Yeah, you didn't have anything on the list about not being able to operate technology. Uh, but
Again,
that
too
is
obvious. Too
what is it?
obvious.
Yeah, yeah.
Too obvious. All right.
I was hanging out with a friend. On that note, I was hanging out with a friend this past week, and he made a point where it's like this past week I've had to help. He works in like customer service, and he's like, in this past week I've had to help like these really old people navigate something on our app, and then I've also had to help like these really young kids, like teenagers, navigate something on our app. And he realized at that point in time, and I think this is true. He goes, is our generation, he's a millennial along with me. He goes, is our generation the only generation that actually knows how to use any of this technology that's out? And I'm going, yeah, I work with kids. They're terrible with it. And then we already know from mom and dad, like they can't turn on their phone. So I think there is one generation only that is consuming all of this newfangled tech
I,
and actually knows how to use
I
it.
was I was thinking about putting one thing on the list of like butt dials, but like not every
Oh,
I
dad's
know
done that to me
dad does it.
3 times in the past 3 weeks.
It's
Three
amazing. He
times.
has an iPhone, okay? And there are everybody has an iPhone now except for Alex. But like it's so hard
It's impossible.
to butt
How are you
dial.
butt dialing somebody?
Dad butt dials me once a week. I don't understand how it I don't understand how I thought about putting it on our list, but I was like, I think this is just an our dad thing. I don't know what he's doing. We're gonna have to do some observation when we're back. I'm just like
Yeah, we did.
following it.
We're gonna be in Kalamazoo, Michigan the next couple of weeks, hanging around dad, and we got to start get Brad Breams in there to
No,
help us
well,
with some naturalistic observations. But what is dad doing where he's butt dialing people on the daily?
you know what we need to do? We need to get Brad Breams, and then I need to dress up in a night suit, and then you need to get your
Yeah,
birding
birding
binoculars, and we just need
photography,
to
and
do
we'll be
we need
able
to
to.
do
We've triangulated it. We're gonna be able to figure this
a
out.
video of me
Why
peeking
is
around
dad butt dialing
a
everybody?
video of me peeking around a corner in my night suit, having you
Yeah,
hand me over the binoculars.
yeah.
I think that would be a fun video. All right, moving on. The MLB All-Star break is almost over. Actually, it's over today. The Philadelphia Phillies play somebody tonight, maybe the Braves. So the MLB All-Star break is officially over. Jordan Walker won the home run derby, and then the AL shut down the NL's lineup, with leading a 4-0 victory. Dylan Cease was at the helm there, pretty much. He led the charge, I would say, for the AL. He was the first one
Did
on
you
the
see that he had a microphone and an earpiece in while he was pitching?
Good for him.
They mic'd up pretty much all of these guys. I mean, I barely watched it because I can't stand. Actually, it was on only because my wife had it on. I was like, "Why are you watching this dribble?" But they had him mic'd up while he's pitching. He's not saying much. He's kind of just like naming what pitches he's going to throw, and the audio quality was terrible. It sounded like they were in a cave. They mic'd up Bobby Witt Jr. and Schwarber simultaneously. Bobby Witt's in the field, and Schwarber's up to bat. Schwarber knocked his earpiece out, dropped a F-bomb in the middle of all of that. And like they're not even talking. And I'm going, what is the purpose of all of this? Again, the quality is terrible. You're not getting any sort of insight whatsoever. I know they've been doing this for years, micing up the players on the field. I would be curious to know who was the first to assent to this, saying, yeah, I'll do this, and then trying to carry this out. ESPN's been doing it for a while on their Sunday night broadcast. But I'm going, can we get rid of this? This is adding nothing to the game. The only one that has actually added something to me that I walked away going, wow, I feel smarter. And I started respecting this guy so much more. They mic'd up Joey Votto during the Field of Dreams game, the Reds versus the Cubs a few years ago. I had always thought Joey Votto was just a massive bro, and they had him on talking for about 5 minutes on the field. Joey Votto is extremely intelligent, extremely articulate, knows how to talk about baseball, can do it kind of in the middle of the game very, very well. But that is the only one that I can point to. I was like, okay, that was enlightening. That is enhancing my experience of viewing this game. Can we get rid of all the other, like we're done with this. This is just another gimmick to try to make the All-Star game somewhat significant or special or to get attention. I don't know what the purpose of this is, but we need to get rid of the on-field interviews. They're worthless. They're useless. We don't need them.
I'm so glad we did the open the way that we did it, just because now literally everything in this episode is just going to be you being a grumpy old man, get off my lawn. That was the exact same rant that I heard at Friendship Village.
Yeah. This was unplanned.
You are so on brand. The title of this episode is going to be How Old is Andy?
Yes. Yeah. Just listen to that. I went on like a 5-minute rant right there. I'm sick and tired of the on-field interviews. The technology never works. It doesn't enhance my experience of the game. Get rid of them.
The internet says.
But I mean, what this also highlights is just the complete insignificance of the All-Star game.
Yeah, I was going to refer them back to our last week's episode.
Yes,
as there actually was a segment on ESPN. I saw a little video.
Did you see the one with Buster Olney?
Buster Olney.
Yeah,
worried about the fragility of the game of this.
They used keywords. It is fragile, and I'm going. That dude was like listening to our podcast, even though we didn't use the word fragile, but we were dancing around the concept.
Yeah. Refer to our last week's episode as we nailed it. Nailed it.
Yes. Almost nailed it. Definitely didn't blow it.
So yeah, the internet says, by the way, that Gaylord Perry was the first athlete to wear a microphone in game in 1976.
Yeah, I was gonna say Gaylord Perry was a while ago.
We should look back and see if the quality was good back then.
Quality's the exact same.
Yeah, they haven't improved that. Well, that wasn't really what we were going to talk about, but Andy and his unbroken streak of, wanting to be old.
Stream of consciousness, old man. Yeah.
Jumped right
ranting
into that.
And raving over here.
Just jumping in right into that. But really what we're talking about is...
You teed it up for me.
Right after the MLB All-Star break, we get the trade deadline. I think the trade deadline is what, August? The first weekend in August?
3rd. I think it's August 3rd. Yeah.
Okay. So... what teams need to do something? What teams need to sell? What teams need to buy? Thoughts on who you think is going to be moved? Most significant name you think is going to be moved?
Can we back up real quick? And was
I going too fast for you?
I mean, we're going to get to eventually. We're going to get to who's going to get moved. But you know me, I'm always zooming out and looking at things from the 30,000-foot view. And I'm going, my very first question in this is not like the immediate, hey, who's getting moved? Let's talk about Skubal. Let's talk about Freddie Peralta and Luis Arraez. Okay. My question in addressing this is, what has been the trend over the past 10 years? Is is it to shop? Is there a lot of buying and selling? Or is it to hold? With the shop mentality, obviously we're winning the World Series this year. It's the guy that we're going out and getting if you're the buyer. That guy is going to push us over the top, and we are going to make a World Series push. We are going to be a legit contender for this thing. And obviously, you can look at instances of this over the past 10 years. Have there been teams that have shopped? Of course, there have been. Let's start with the Cubbies in 2016, 10 years ago, them getting Aroldis Chapman and making the World Series push. And I think they probably, actually, this is something that I don't think gets talked about, or at least I haven't heard this conversation, is do the Cubs win the World Series without Aroldis?
No. Despite the game
The
7
blow up in the game
Yeah.
7, yeah, which was not his fault. That was probably overuse. I mean, Madden wanted to pitch him. The dude's can only go an inning, and he was like, "Hey, you can throw 5, right?
Well,
I know you just threw 3 last night, but you can go 5 tonight, right?" I understand you got to have your best players out there, but there's a best by date on every pitcher's arms. Like, they need to recharge a little bit.
Well, he did have the blow up in the 8th inning, and then he came out and got 3 straight outs in the 9th inning. A little remembered fact. But no, I don't think they win without Aroldis.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are instances where it's like, hey, there's some big names that get traded at the deadline. There are buyers, and this definitely works out to a team's advantage where they go on to either compete in the World Series or win the World Series. I would say the Cubs are one of those, going out and getting Aroldis in 2016. The Braves in 2021 also completely remodeled their outfield. They went and got Adam Duvall, Eddie Rosario, Jock Peterson was on that list, and Jorge Soler. So they go out and get 4 new outfielders. They go on to win the World Series. They would not have won the World Series that year had they not been massive buyers at the deadline. There are also times where teams kind of sell the farm and they get no return on their investment whatsoever. 2018, the Pirates famously went after Chris Archer of the then Tampa Bay Rays for this is the worst trade in history. Do you know who the Pirates gave up to get Chris Archer, who maybe pitched all of 7 innings for them? Unsuccessful 7 innings.
What year
for them?
was this?
Do you know who they gave up to the Rays? 2018?
Junior Caminero.
No.
I don't know.
Tyler Glasnow, Shane Baz, and Austin Meadows. Glasnow alone, it's like you made a massive mistake on that one. So, but the Pirates don't go anywhere. They didn't even make the playoffs. Just kind of rolling down the list a little faster here. In 2018, Manny Machado went to the Dodgers. They don't win the World Series that year, but they make, a pretty good run. 2021, that was the Max Scherzer and Trey Turner go over to the Dodgers from the Natties. The Natties are all about getting rid of their players because the following year they gave up Juan Soto and Josh Bell to the Padres. So yes, big names do get moved at the trade deadline, and that has been seen over the past 10 years. But I'm going to make the case that I think the trend over the past 10 years, the needle's pointing a little bit more towards more teams are holding on to what they have, kind of prioritizing. Yes, you want to win now, but we're not going to leverage our depth. We're not going to leverage our future. And there are some notable holds. Now, how much success they have had in their holding or whether it bore the fruit they thought it was going to bear. This one didn't bear any fruit. Is 2023, the Angels definitely should have gotten rid of Shohei Ohtani to get a return on their investment there. San Fran held on to Madison Bumgarner in 2019, did not make the playoffs there. A lot of these teams are in the playoff push, and they think by holding, it's going to get them to the playoffs and help them be contenders. They did not. Skubal was held by the Tigers in 2024. That's when they made their magical run of 31-10 down the stretch starting in August. And then Garrett Crochet was held by the White Sox in 2024 as well. They definitely should have got rid of him at that point in time to get a little bit of fodder for the cannon later down the road. The point being is, I'm going to make the case this is where we're going to open this up to a little argumentation. Yes, I already laid out there have been some big name trades in the past 10 years, but I think the overall trend in the past 10 years have been to hold on to your pieces, don't sell the farm for one shot this year at the playoffs or hopefully a World Series. I think teams are getting a little bit more savvy to these rental players that are going to play out the rest of their contract for the next 2 months, and then we're going to say goodbye to them after we've given up a younger player with X amount of years of team control. Teams aren't doing that anymore. I think you are seeing less and less big names traded at the deadline. Do you find that palatable? Does that make sense? Do you think that the trend is to hold at the deadline over the past 10 years as opposed to, yep, let's go for it?
No, because you just listed a bunch of evidence that suggests there are teams who are aggressive. Like I contextualize this conversation for a second. It's like how many teams are actually in the mix and how many teams need to make a big trade in order for
All of them.
the market
No,
to be.
that's what I'm going to say. It's like, no. Nobody's given up like any of their prospects. Nobody's like trading for the big names because all of them, nobody gives. Here's what I'll bring up a team this year. Okay. The Twins. The Twins are remarkably only 3 games out of first place in the AL Central. Most of that has to do with the AL Central is woeful. The Tigers have not played up to their potential at all. That's another huge reason, or at least a subcategory of that first reason there. The Twins have also played fairly well. They've kind of punched above their weight. Byron Buxton is having an all-star year. It's probably his career year. Joe Ryan is doing what Joe Ryan has been billed to do. He is a front-end starter. He's doing very, very well. Taj Bradley has pitched well this year as well. Ryan Jeffers is hurt, but he's also a name that's being thrown out there as like he's the top catcher on the market at this trade deadline. Are the Twins going to get rid of any of these guys? No, they're not, because they're looking at the standings and they're looking at a dreadful AL Central and a woeful AL in general. And they're going, we got a shot at this. And so these bigger names that would be traded in a playoff format that doesn't include 6 teams, those names would be getting moved because they know they didn't have a shot. So I'm saying there's less available big name talent on the market because all of these teams are looking at the standings going, well, we're only 4 games out.
Well, that's a function.
That's 2 weeks.
I would say
that's 2 weeks we get hot and we're in the playoffs.
I would say that's a function of changes to the playoff format. Like
that's what I'm saying. Is there a reason where I'm going to go into? My point is the trend is we're getting away from big name trades at the deadline, and then I'm going to say here's why this is the case, and that is one of them. Is the playoff format changed a few years back? Now there are 6 teams that can make it. And man, when there's 6 teams that can make it in, I mean everybody's kind of looking at it. Even the 5 games out, going, yeah, we got a shot at this.
And that goes to a conversation that we're going to have in the future. Actually, there's like 3 different topics. Fill up airtime. Get your notebook out. Because there's an element of this of across all of sports, what does team success look like? There are a lot of teams across each league that just care about being in the playoffs. And they can talk themselves into, oh, if we're in the playoffs, then 1, that's good enough for our fan base, and 2, it gives us a chance. There's like this mantra, I think, and again, this goes back to like our conversation about is it worse being a fan now, which we're going to get into a couple weeks from now, I'm sure. But like there might be just a mantra among these business-minded owners of let's just sell that we have a chance. Let's just get in the playoffs and we can sell to our fan base. If we get in the playoffs, then we have a chance. When they know they don't actually
They're
have a
selling
chance.
hope.
Yes.
Yeah. You're selling hope by some of like the Twins, let's say. You're selling hope by holding on to Buxton, Joe Ryan, and Ryan Jeffers. You're saying, hey, we got a shot here. And it's going to have people maybe a little bit more interested over the next month before they realize, oh, no, we don't have a shot. We're 7 games out at the beginning of September here. Why
The
did we hold on to these
the
guys?
li- the line
But I
is
think
the
the
line
hope
is
is stronger than the regret that happens afterwards. What's
the
the line?
line is anything can happen in baseball. It's
Yeah.
baseball. Baseball's going to
Yep.
baseball, and so that is the fallback position of I think a lot of people who think about our fan base happy. We've talked, for Milwaukee, Does- for a
That was
franchise
going to
like
say, yes.
Milwaukee, for a franchise like Milwaukee, are there? It would be interesting to talk to a diehard Brewer fan. It's like, are you satisfied with just appearing in the playoffs and dominating the NL Central every year? Like, is that good
Well,
enough for you?
I would let's zoom out a little bit here and look at Milwaukee over the past 25 years. Milwaukee wasn't as successful as they are now, had that continued sustained success they have now. They were a team that they hadn't made the playoffs in forever. And this is where, again, it does, you're right, that the fan dynamic, the team dynamic, what your market is, kind of determines what you might do at the trade deadline. And Milwaukee's the best example of this, where they go out, they hadn't made the playoffs in years. They go out and they Sabathia. And CC Sabathia pitches pretty much every game for them for the next 2 months and wins every single one of them. And they get to the playoffs and they're ecstatic and they're saying, hey, this was totally worth it. We leveraged the future for CC Sabathia, but we hadn't been to the playoffs in forever. And getting to the playoffs was the promised land for us this year. Now, that has shifted entirely. The Brewers are no longer content with just a playoff appearance. They're looking at a World Series. When you make it, what are they at right now? 7 out of 8, something like that. 7 out of that past 8 seasons, they've made it to the playoffs. When you've done that, the playoffs don't mean anything anymore. The playoffs are just okay, now, yep, that was the next part of the season. And now the expectation is World Series or bust. And
Yeah, so
so,
there's a conversation to be had here about like fan bases and the changing and when it changes, right? So like you're right. For the
yes.
Brewers, it's like for a little while, maybe just getting to the playoffs consistently is the goal, and fan base is going to be happy with that. But there is a tipping point to when the fan base gets to, okay, getting to the playoffs is not good enough for us anymore. And that
No.
changes per fan base and that changes per city and
Yes.
that changes over time, right? So I'm sure
The
that
Angels right now. Are you kidding me? If they, I mean,
the
the Angels are completely out of contention right now. But let's say next year they're kind of close. Their their ownership would never do this because their ownership is completely incompetent. But they, if they were close, their ownership should go out and get a name and say, "Hey, we have hope." Because right now, a playoff appearance would mean the world to our fan base.
Well, so if I think about this of like plotting this on a spectrum because it is kind of a spectrum of where this fan where we should do that. We should put on the screen a spectrum of like here's
Expectation, fan expectation,
winning
fan
the
base
World
expectation.
Series is the
Yeah.
goal, right? Is the one end, and then what is the other end? And my inclination is to put like the organization doing competent things is like the bottom of the barrel as a fan base. If like you just want your organization to act competently is is like that's like the lowest level of hey, this is what we want for our team. If we will be happy if our organization starts to act competently. I think that's like the lowest end. The other piece of this and the question that I have for you is like on a scale of AJ Preller to the Twinkies GM, where are you? Like, are you on the scale? Are you more towards I'll trade everybody and everybody? I
Anybody?
don't care.
Everybody's on the list. I'm fielding calls for everybody. What do you got? Yeah. We're
Where are
wheeling
you?
and dealing no matter what, just because I got an itchy trigger finger. Yeah.
Where are you on that spectrum? Or where would you be? Give if a team called you and said, Andy, we
But
want you to
I go, well,
be
what team am I? What am I Jed Hoyer? Am I the Cubs? It depends on who I am or what team
okay.
I'm the
Give a
GM
couple
for.
give a couple different examples.
If I
I'm talking about
if
overall.
I'm the Brewers, if
I'm talking
I'm
about
the Brewers,
overall.
I got to win this year. And
I'm talking
so
about
I'm AJ
overall.
Prellering this. I am going, yep, everybody's on the table. Let's go. I want some names. I'm going after Scooble. Even if I'm the Brewers, it's like, yeah, the bank is open. Who in our farm system do you want? And I'm even willing to be like, let's part with some big league talent already up here. I'm getting Scooble. If I'm the Brewers GM, I'm going after everybody that's going to help me win a World Series.
Yeah,
And I don't care about next year.
I'm talking about overall philosophy because obviously AJ Preller, he's just a I
He does that
don't
every
care.
year.
I don't
Yeah,
care
yeah.
about I don't care about my talent in the minor leagues.
Who is
Like,
who's up in Seattle as well? Is it what it's Jerry D'Angelo? Who's the guy up there? That's not that's not whoever Seattle's is as well. He's also a yeah, let's roll the dice here a little bit.
did you
Let's
just name drop?
introduce a little bit of chaos.
Did you just name
Jerry
drop
D'Angelo's not yeah. It's
Jerry
not Jerry.
D'Angelo? Another old man moment from Andy. He throws out a Jerry D'Angelo. If you don't know who Jerry D'Angelo is, he was a GM for the Bears in the early 2000s. That's where
It's not Jerry D'Angelo. It's like his name is like Jerry D'Angelo. I can't remember what it is now.
another old man moment. Way to go.
Yeah, I'm
This
gonna do
show
that a
theme
lot
is
on here.
amazing. I
I don't
love
know
this.
names.
I don't
I
know.
don't know names. I admit that readily.
I
Anyway,
bring up that question because I think it's in like another Philip Airtime note is like do farm systems, and this is specific to baseball of just like farm systems matter, and like how much do you buy into this like, oh, our prospects are ranked here and here and here. I will give you a little bit of a preview as to my thought here. I think farm system and the whole farm system propaganda is just that propaganda, and it is just like you said there to sell hope.
yes.
I don't believe in any of the farm system crap, as evidenced by the Cubs saying, "Hey, we're not going to go out and trade for Eugenio Suarez last year when there was clear need at third base." And they said, "No, we're holding on to Owen Cassie. We're holding on to our guys because we believe
The
in them."
Matt
And
Shaw.
then
Matt
and then
Shaw was the
guess
guy
what?
there.
And then guess what? The next offseason, they trade Owen Cassie, who was at the time their big prospect, and then they move Matt Shaw to the bench. It's like you sold us on this, oh, we have hope in our prospects, but then the next offseason you just go and flip course immediately. You go sign on. It makes no sense.
We're getting hoodwinked. We're being bamboozled as a fan base right now.
I don't believe in farm systems at all. Farm systems are a
Yeah.
joke. I'm with AJ Preller on this.
Just a little note here. I Googled the Seattle GM. It is Justin Hollander, but I was not too far off. The president of baseball ops in Seattle is Jerry Dipoto. I was very close with Jerry D'Angelo. That's exactly who I was thinking of, is Jerry Dipoto,
Okay.
who is let's just see what happens here. We're just going to start going after everybody. The bank's open. Who do you want? I'm taking calls. So, um, yeah, I mean, look, if we got to eventually get to what are the Cubs going to do here? But I am going to say that even if my argument is the past 10 years, yes, you see big names traded, but I think the overall trend is let's hold on to our guy. Anybody who's in the middle here, let's hold on to our guys. Fewer big names on the market because the only teams that are selling are the cellar dwellers who have absolutely no shot halfway through the season, and that's not a lot of teams. That's the Rockies, that's the Angels. The reason that they're at the bottom is because they don't have a lot of talent on the big league roster that can help a contender now. So it's a smaller market. It's a smaller pool of players that you're dealing with here, that you're talking about here. Obviously, the biggest fish in the pond is Tarek Skubal.
Hold on.
And I think this entire question.
Can I ask one more theoretical question before we go into the specifics, even though the segment's already too long?
As always, yeah.
Is baseball not as popular because there's less movement?
Baseball is popular right now. As Jeff Passan said, baseball's having a moment. They're in the middle of their moment. Numbers are pretty stinking good for baseball.
Okay.
Now, maybe your question, let me rephrase your question for you.
Please.
Yes. Yeah. Would you have more engagement? Would there be more eyeballs if there were more names being moved at the trade deadline?
Sure. I just think about the sports calendar and the sports media complex and how the NBA, and again,
just trying to elbow their way into every single week
Every
in a calendar year.
conversation, there's theories that LeBron doesn't announce his team that he's going to go to because he just wants to dominate the news cycle all the time. Now,
Yeah.
this is going to go into our conversation about what it's like to be a fan in the modern age, and maybe one theory that I'm going to throw out there again, previewing some of my thoughts for that episode is just like, does how teams run now mirror how culture has changed just in general? You would always bring up the Neil Postman and now this. It feels like the NBA runs in a very and now this and now this and now this.
Yes.
It's a very like video game esque. Hey, let's just throw a bunch of random players on teams and let's just constantly shake up the ball and see where all the chips fall, sort of thing. And I think
Yeah.
maybe younger fans resonate with the modern NBA. Now, the ratings for regular season games are down, but like in terms of why NBA media rights are so important is because everybody watches that stuff on social media, and the reason they watch on
I
social
was just
media,
gonna say, are the games even that important anymore?
no, no,
Maybe that's the theory that the NBA is running with is we actually don't care if people watch the games.
yeah,
That's not the type of engagement we're looking at. We're looking at social media
we
engagement,
just
and
want to be
man,
in, we just want to be in the
we're a
news.
soap opera
Yeah,
at this point in time. We are not a sport. We are a soap opera.
and that's where,
And man, people are watching the soap opera online.
yeah, I mean, again, hockey is not as relevant in America, but you look at the three important sports just in terms of media, it's like the reason the NFL is constantly dominating is because they always have some sort of event going on. Like it's OTAs and it's the combine, it's the draft, and like
Yeah.
they've figured out a calendar where they can be present and people just care about the NFL more. We can get into why that is. The NBA has clearly, I think, shifted towards a full calendar
We are
like
content.
media attack
Yes.
content
We are a
producers,
media enterprise that produces content. We are not a sport anymore.
and they seem to be shifting towards a very modern approach to media. Whereas baseball,
Yes.
it's
It's still old.
as with baseball, it's always just it's taking a little bit more time to come to that approach, and maybe that's why we like
But
it so much, and maybe
I
that's
was just going to
why,
say, as an old man, as established by the opener,
yeah,
I don't want it to become a media enterprise. I want it to be about the sport.
yeah.
I don't want it to be a soap opera where I have to get on The Athletic or ESPN or whatever app. What I don't want all of that. I want to just take a break and I want a slower game. I mean, I'm all for all the rule changes that Theo has implemented to make it around a 2.5 hour game. All of that's good, but I'm saying it's just a slower pace of life. It's about listening to Boog and JD just yuck it up in a booth for a couple hours. It's kind of like the background or the soundtrack to my life. That's what I want. I don't want the internet pop-up media enterprise that is the NBA. It's disorienting and chaotic, and I don't need that. Baseball as an institution offers a little bit more of a steady course
Why
and a
did
little
they
bit more
move the
stability.
cereal? Why did they move the oatmeal
Why
to
did
aisle 17? Don't move anything. This is where I expect it to be.
100%.
Well, no,
100%. Yeah.
I do agree. I do agree that I think I resonate with the ever presentness of, and I'm about to say something too serious here, of just like the everyday presentness of baseball, of just like consistency and just flatlining a little bit of like, this is always here for me, as opposed to the NBA, which is very emotionally high, like driven by emotional highs. It's the problem with that is you always are seeking the next emotional high when all you do is just feed emotional highs. It's a drug essentially of just like,
Yeah.
oh, this big thing happened and now I need another big thing to get to, and then we over sensationalize everything now because we're always seeking those emotional highs. I don't care about emotional highs. I want that consistent feeling of this is just part of my daily life, and that's why I think I like baseball more.
Again, not to make it too serious, but as you're talking, I'm thinking about just the analogy of relationships of what do you want? You want a really hot, really cold dating relationship where you're just cycling through a whole bunch of dates? Or do you want the 60-year marriage? Just the slow, steady burn of love. And I think you get that with baseball. Baseball is a marriage that's just, it's always there. It's a constant, it's slow burning, it's deeper
All right.
than,
We
again,
now we now
pop-up
have
nature
we
of
now
the
have an
NBA.
analogy. We now have an analogy. It's baseball
Baseball is
is your
marriage.
baseball is your best friend, and basketball is that hot chick, but she is crazy.
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 Just BS crazy. Yep.
All right. Trade
Totally.
deadline specifics.
Actually, let's talk about now on to Tarek Skubal. Yeah, I mean, who will Skubal get moved? Yes or no?
No. I think
I'm gonna go yes.
I think if I text Joey right now,
yes.
I think he's going to say that no. I think Tigers fans and the Tigers believe they're still in it, and I
They
believe
are
the Tigers are still in it.
6.5 games out at the All-Star break. Come on. Come on. They can't. Yes, it's an atrocious AL Central. They have to. They know that, and
That's
they're
it.
just
I'm
looking like,
texting
yeah, we
Joey.
don't really care. But they still have to move him.
I'm texting Joey.
He's not happy there.
I'm texting Joey right now.
You have to get no. You have to get something for him. Ugh.
I'm texting Joey right now. Are the Tigers
That's
still
fine.
in
it? We're getting our Detroit correspondent.
Yeah, we're gonna get a little phoner in here, and Joey's gonna give us just a little thought here on are the Tigers still in it? No, I don't think the Tigers are gonna trade him, and some of this might be just I hope they don't, because the obvious suitor is the Dodgers, and I just don't want good things to happen for them. I don't want Skubal to be on the Dodgers, so maybe that's just me hoping he doesn't get traded. But I do believe the Tigers believe they're in it, and that's why I think they won't do it.
That's fair. If the Tigers think that they're still in it, then they're not getting rid of any of their trade pieces, because Casey Mize was also linked to he'd be a great fit for the Cubs. So you're saying there's no way that the Cubs are getting Casey Mize?
No, I think they hold. I think they hold. I think they might do a thing around the fringe, but I don't think Casey Mize fits in the fringe category. I think they think he's a long-term piece. I think I can't say it enough. I think the Tigers still believe. I think if you look at what they did last year, and yes, they had a very, very slow start this year, but if you look at the past couple months, I think they can talk them again. Going back to what we talked about earlier, is they're selling themselves a little bit of
They're
hope.
selling hope.
I bet you the Illich. I bet you Chris Illich, I think, is the owner now. I think he's probably saying. I think he's looking at the team, going, "Yeah, we can still pull this off," and that is evidence from. He's using evidence from a couple of years ago when they had that 31-10 run. Like, even owners.
That was an aberration. I mean, yes, he can point to that, but he has to be smart enough to be like, oh, that was a 99.9% chance that we weren't getting in.
That may be true.
0.1%.
That may be true, but
you cannot make business decisions on the 0.1%.
Sure, you can. People get emotional about their teams. Have we not talked about that? Even owners who are more.
Have I shown any emotion about the Cubs whatsoever on this show?
Shown more. Oh, just never mind. All right. Speaking of the Cubs,
yeah, we got to go there.
The Cubs have had an up and down season, and they're in a bit of a weird spot. They're not going to win the Central, but they are firmly entrenched in the wild card race, if not fully entrenched in just being a wild card team at this point. They have no pitchers. Their entire starting pitchers, their entire starting rotation is on the IL. Done. Well, except for Matthew Boyd. I think he's the only one.
Matthew Boyd just came back, and he's looked okay. He's not going super deep. He's got to build up to that, but that might be a good thing as well. As he's not throwing a lot of pitches. Hopefully, he's got those in the tank.
Philip Airtime reminded me that we need to talk about Ben Brown. He went on the IL, and he's got this like
he has a stress fracture in his neck. I don't even know that's possible.
Well, this is the second time he had it. He was out. He went on the IL
Yeah.
last year as
Yeah.
well. They didn't know what it was, and that's why it took so long for
Yeah.
him to come back last year. They know it's now a stress fracture in his neck. But the interesting thing is when they were talking, when the broadcast was talking about it and him being out, they said like the the concerning part about this injury is there's something about his mechanics that is causing this stress fracture in his neck, and they
Oh,
need to figure out what about his mechanics is causing this thing. Baseball is causing this injury. And now
that's
Ben Brown
bad.
again, Ben Brown has been really, really good this season.
Yes.
But to
Love Ben Brown.
but to have this injury now happen 2 years in a row, and for basically everybody to go, yeah, it's something about the way you pitch that is causing you to have a stress fracture. That's not a good sign. And I'm very, very
No.
worried about Ben Brown.
Yeah. That's not good news long term at all. Council was very optimistic that we're going to see Ben Brown again this year. But yeah, you're looking at the Cubs, like all of their pitching staff, starters in particular. But Justin Steele's not coming back
No.
until September at the earliest, would be my guess.
And he's going to be a
Uh,
bullpen guy.
yeah, Edward Cabrera hasn't really panned out, been the guy that they were hoping that he would be. Just this blow you away force on the mound. He's not that. So when he comes back, he's not going to be that great anyway. Jamison Tyone is exactly who Jamison Tyone is. Like we're not getting like too much out of it. Like he's not a number one in the playoffs. And so realistically, the Cubs have to go after a massive frontline starter this trade deadline. And that frontline starter is who are they going to go get, Adam?
Joe Ryan.
Bingo. Bingo.
Is Joe Ryan? Well, you already said the Twinkies aren't going to trade anybody.
They're not going to. They have to convince. They have to convince Twins ownership to give him up. It's got to be Joe Ryan. I watch a lot of the Twins almost as much as the Cubs. They're always on. We've always watched the Cubs, watching most Twins games as well in our household. And man, I love Joe Ryan. I thought he was a little grunge. So years ago when we started, like when he first came up, or he came over from Tampa. When he came over, I was like, dude, this guy is grungy. Like my wife and I call him Joe Dirt. Like he is just a grungy dude. And I'm like, ugh, kind of gross. He has won me over entirely. He's like a Shota Imanaga on the mound where you're getting a ton of personality. He makes a lot of faces. A lot of them are very funny. You can tell he's just having a good time out there. One of my favorite moments this year even comes from Joe Ryan. Josh Bell hit the ball to the wall. Dude's at the wall, catches it right at the top of the wall, just a couple feet from being a home run. Josh Bell jogs back into the dugout, and Joe Ryan's meeting him there with a serious face, and he just goes, more push-ups. That's just funny stuff.
Yeah, that's a good response.
I want Joe Ryan on my team, and he's a stinking good pitcher. So yeah, I think the Cubs have to open up the bank and just go, look, we're going to give you whoever you want. And the Twins are pretty needy right now. They can't figure out a starting rotation. They can't figure out just a starting lineup to save their life. It's different every single night for Blake Shelton. Derek Shelton, Blake Shelton, either one. So you can dangle in front of them Matt Shaw. You can dangle in front of him Matt Shaw. You can dangle in front of them Kevin Alcantara, who is never going to pan out. I'm sorry, but he is never going to be a long-term solution anywhere for the Cubs. You can dangle a whole bunch of Jordan Wicks. Jordan Wicks will be a starter for the Twins. Ship him out over there. Give them whoever they want to get Joe Ryan. He is under team control. There's a mutual option for next year as well. Like you have this guy for a year and a half. Go get Joe Ryan. Give them anything they want.
Can I give you a couple names just real quickly here of like actual potentially realistic options? Logan Webb from the Giants. Michael King from the Padres.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want him. Logan Webb, I'm nibbling a little bit there on that one. He has been steady his entire career. Freddie has some problems. You just said Freddie Peralta.
Yeah.
Freddie's not looking great this year, and I don't think it's just because he's wearing a Mets uniform, which will have a negative impact on your career for sure. But I don't think if you bring Freddie over and he's wearing Cubby blue pinstripes, it's going to change much. I think there might be something wrong with Freddie.
I think the only one on the Angels who is worth, and I would not trade for this guy, but Reed Detmers
Yeah,
is the only name. That name has been floated from the White
I
Sox
think
a
he's
lot.
been linked to the White Sox. He might be
Yeah.
going to the White Sox.
And the only other one that I could I don't know any single pitcher on the Orioles, but Dylan Cease. Like if you're the Toronto and you kind of had a not great lead up to you're 12 games out. You're 12 games out and you're 6 games below. And I mean, you and I have already talked about Dylan Cease, and we've wanted him out on the Cubs for quite some time.
I wanted them to sign him in the offseason.
Yeah. So is that? I mean, I just listed four names. I think
you
realistic
missed.
names.
You missed a guy as well. There's two. Okay, with Dylan Cease, I'm going to add Sonny Gray because that's another name that's been tied to. Maybe the Cubs go out and get this guy. But Dylan Cease and Sonny Gray are guys that I have been saying for the past probably 8 years. Go get this guy.
Well, but
Sonny Gray, have you not heard me say for years now? Why are the Cubs not going to get Sonny Gray?
I don't want Sonny Gray. But could the Boston Red Sox, with their 9-game winning streak going into the break, talk themselves into, hey, we're still hanging around?
They are another team that ownership is going to sell them on hope. Hey, yeah. For how bad we were at the beginning, we have righted the ship. We fired Alex Cora. We figured out. We fixed it. We figured out the hitting. We figured out the pitching. Pitching wasn't their problem, as big of a problem. But Garrett Crochet's not having a great year. But yeah, they're going to sell hope as well. I think they hold on to Sonny probably.
I think I like Logan Webb the best out of those names.
I mean, if we're ranking them, if I don't think Dylan Cease is an option. I think Toronto is not going to part with anybody. They're still riding high off the fumes of last year. So I think they're going, no. We can pull a rabbit out of our hat this year too. But if Dylan Cease is an option, he might even move above Joe Ryan for me. But he just signed a massive. The Cubs aren't going after him. That's not a realistic thing.
That's my point. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's not even an option in this universe.
What was it, like 210 million over 210 million over like 5 years? They're not going to trade for that. That's why I'm saying Logan Webb, like a Michael King, is more. If they like, it would be.
I'm sick and tired.
I'm
sick and tired. Michael King fits in the category of who did they get last year? Was it Michael Soroka? Where it's like, what are we doing here?
Okay. Now you sound like a dummy.
Michael King is not a solution. He's a fourth starter, is what he is.
Okay, Michael King was in the Cy Young conversation last year.
Oh,
don't loop in Soroka. No. Don't loop in Soroka and King. Padre fans, the zero Padre fans that are listening to this podcast are yelling at you right now.
I'm saying it's the move the Cubs would make of like, we don't have to go after a big name because we can get this guy, this Michael King's acclamation project, but we can get this guy who, man, if we teach him how to throw a splitter, he's going to be a Cy Young candidate. No. Like, that's not reality.
You know who they would trade for? You know what the Cubs would trade for? I'm going to name two other Padres here. They would trade for Walker Buehler and Lucas Giolito and go, we can fix these guys.
Yeah, those would be the guys the Cubs would go target at this
Lucas
point.
Giolito.
Like,
Lucas Giolito would be at the top of the list.
He's done.
He is done.
Yeah.
He is done.
So no, I mean, sure. If the Giants were looking to move Logan away, which they might have a fire sale, because he's not even the first name on the list for who the Giants are going to get rid of. Luis Arias is already gone. He's 1 foot out the door. He's going somewhere. I think June. Oh, who's the Korean center fielder? My students say pretty face for this guy. This is what they pretty face. Who's June, whatever his name is. He's also gone. So I don't think Logan Webb is number one.
I'd rather not try to guess his last name in fear that I would probably get canceled for.
Yeah.
Keep going. Push through.
Anyway. Logan Webb is, by the way, names are never going to be my strong suit. So for all you listeners out there, It's sorry, it's
Jerry
brutal.
D'Angelo.
I care about the sport, not about the cogs in the wheel. All right. Logan Webb is still behind Joe Ryan for me, but Logan Webb would be a phenomenal get for the Cubs. But that's who they need to target. Is this guy has an established track record. He is a frontline starter. We need to make a splash. The Cubs will not beat the Dodgers. They will not beat the Brewers. They probably won't even beat the Braves or the Phillies if they don't go get a massive arm. Scooble's not in the conversation. I concede that. But if you don't go get a Joe Ryan or a Logan Webb, cool, you made the playoffs. As a Cub fan, where are we on your spectrum? We are not oh man, I just hope we make it to the playoffs. We are we need to compete for a World Series here. And if you don't go get an arm, you are not competing for a World Series and you are not satisfying your fan base, which is me.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about where am I at on this fan base spectrum. I think I've resigned to the fact that like I don't think we're going to compete for a World Series just because the Dodgers are standing in our way. I think I expect them to beat the Brewers. I think that's if they beat the Brewers in an NLDS, I think I'll be happy this season.
Yeah, that's a good one. If you can get past the Brewers, I'm okay with that.
I think that's
a little bit of retribution from last year.
Yeah. I think that would show me that there's progress being made at least. All right. You listed here biggest surprise, or should we just move on to the next point in our show?
I think we say biggest surprise, then we do the break, and then
we might be done because we've talked too long already.
We do our other slap bunt topic here. We saved the home run for another show, which we've been pushing this one off for a while now.
Pulling back the curtain. So just so everybody knows how this show is structured. We do two kind of lighter topics. If you're watching on the YouTube,
which,
you know.
By lighter, we mean 45-minute worth of segment.
They're supposed to be quick hints. And
10 minutes.
They in our show format document that we plan stuff, it's called slap buns, which are supposed to be small hits. We've now been going for an hour on just 2 points of the 6 points that we need to get to. So we're in trouble. And we don't want to go another hour and 45 like we did last week. So yes, I agree. Let's go to
give me your biggest surprise and then take us to the break. Who's going to get moved that you're just like, whoa, didn't see that one coming?
I have no idea. I was trying to look through the teams and I agree.
Or who's going to be a seller that you're like, oh, I thought they were in the mix here.
I was looking at the standings and I was wondering, like, Cincinnati is now 15 and a half
seller
back. They just signed Chase Burns, I think this morning.
Yes. 105 million. Yeah.
Good signing.
Yep.
I don't exactly know who they're going to sell though on their team. If you could trade a Eugenio Suarez again. Sure. Yep. I just don't know. They are pretty clearly
They're not getting rid of Ellie. They're not getting rid of Sal Stewart, which the Cubs broadcast made a great comp. He's a young Marlon Brando. So they're not getting rid of those two. They're not getting rid of any of their pitchers. Hunter Green is a stud for them. Obviously, they just wrapped up Chase Burns for a while. They might get rid of Abbott. He's a great pitcher.
Hey, Abbott.
He is not having as good of a year, but he might be a trade piece they can move. But they got a bunch of just like TJ Friedels. It's like, you're a baseball player. You're okay. He's not moving the needle for any team.
Biggest surprises I think for me would be like if the Padres actually sold, who would they sell? Would they sell Fernando Tatis?
Yes. Who has joked about being moved internally. Yes.
The Orioles seem like they need to do something at some point. Their young core is not turning out to be what they thought it was going to be. They were pegged as like we're the next 2016 Cubs in terms of
the young core. And they are not.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not happening for that team. So they need to do something. I think the biggest surprise for me would be if they're not going to do this. I don't think. Obviously, Juan Soto would be a big surprise if he was traded. I think more likely
He won't. Nobody can afford his contract.
Francisco
No,
Lindor would be the one that you would look at if the Mets were going to
I
sell.
like that name. Yep.
I don't know where he would go. I don't know
Yeah.
who needs a shortstop, but Francisco
Who needs
Lindor,
it? Yeah.
it seems to be the name on the Mets that you would think would move if they were going to start to do a fire sale. I mean, besides Freddie
Yeah.
Peralta and besides, but
Freddie's probably out the door. I don't think they're going to hang on to Freddie. But yeah, that'd be a surprise name for the Mets if the Mets were to just, all right, we're offloading pretty much everybody. We're going to tear this thing down to the studs, except for, well, to the studs would be Juan Soto, and we'll just start building a brand new team. I think you already mentioned, but the surprise for me would be Toronto. If Toronto says, hey, we had a great run, we should have won the World Series last year, but it's just not working out, and they start moving some pieces, that would be a surprise for me. Dylan Cease is not a realistic option, but there are a few other guys on that team that probably could be shipped off and get a pretty good healthy return. They have a good starting rotation. Like, they have some pretty good pitchers. And a good bullpen. Louis Varland for them would be a great pickup for somebody. Louis Varland is fantastic in relief. I think he made the All-Star team. He was a longtime Twins pitcher. That's why I'm mostly familiar with Louis' work. So Toronto would be kind of a surprise for me if they started selling some pieces off. I think can I bring it? I don't think the A's will start selling people off, but when we made our picks a few weeks back, and I said, who's going to win the AL West? I think the A's are going to come out and shock everybody and be like, they can do this.
And then they won, and then they lost 2 weeks in a row.
They have lost 13 out of their last 14 after I said that. I have caused the A's demise single-handedly by picking them to win the AL West. I apologize to Mark Kotze. And their pitching coach who just got fired.
Again, little inside information. I have dubbed Andy the geopolitical economic hurricane because of what he does to countries around the world.
Every country I go to just collapses into the ocean.
He went to Venezuela.
Yeah.
Right after it
tanked
collapsed.
their economy. Yeah, it was already pretty bad, but I made it a lot worse.
Lebanon. A bomb went off in
Lebanon
a port.
sank into the ocean.
A bomb went off in a port while he was there.
Yes.
Really fell apart. Albania, again. Andy just has a way of
shipwrecking nation states. But I think I also do that for sports teams as well.
One-man wrecking crew. So if you're listening to this podcast and you hear him say something good about your team, which you're not, because you would
should
be listening.
Be very fearful. You should be terrified of what's going to happen next.
That's the point. All right.
I do like your moniker, though, is I will wear that proudly, as geopolitical hurricane.
Yeah.
I need that on a business card. I don't have business cards as a teacher, but that's what's going on my business card.
We should just make, I think business cards should make a comeback. For no reason,
we're gonna
get some business
random
things on the business card. Here's my business card. It doesn't even say that you're a teacher on it. It just says this.
Yeah, no, Andrew Borzan, geopolitical hurricane.
And then mine will just be like exactly? Mine will just be Adam Borzan, and on the back it'll be my full name, Adam Michael Jordan Gordon Borzan, and then the whole thing. Why does your name on both sides? Let's go to break, and then we're gonna come back from break. We're gonna talk about the sports calendar, and we're not gonna talk about coaching and which coach, what sport is hardest to coach, because that was the planned topic of today. But we're not gonna do that. We're
not getting there. There's no way.
Yeah. Let's go to break. We'll be right back. As always, this episode is presented by Legends Attic in Claremont, California, for all of your memorabilia and trading card art needs. We are going to be at West Coast Card Show starting tonight, actually. Your boy Johnny and Alejandro will be there. We will be there all weekend. Mick Rippin and Eddie will be there. We're going to be doing some social media hits from West Coast Card Show. So make sure to follow us on Instagram, legends.attic, to see what all is going on there. And July 28th, if you're interested, Legendary Tuesday, we're about to release some of the marketing for this. Julio Cesar Chavez, the great Boxing Legend will be at Earl Hershiser Chevrolet and at Tower Buzzers Legendary Tuesday. You will have 2 opportunities to meet the legend. Go to legendsaddict.com. We're going to be hosting a private signing at Earl Hershiser Chevrolet in the afternoon. And then you can also go and meet him again. So you can meet him twice. You can go to the Tower Buzzers game that night, Legendary Tuesday. You can meet us behind home plate. Julio Cesar Chavez will be in the house for our next Legendary Tuesday. This episode is also brought to you by Oral Hershiser Chevrolet.
Oh, Chevy.
Oral Hershiser Chevrolet in Chino at the corner of Riverside and Central. They just got in a new Corvette, so somebody needs to go and buy the American one.
Is this different from the American flag one?
Yes, they just got a Z06. I don't really know, but it's got like a different body design. It's like midnight black. It looks pretty cool in the picture. So, if you're looking for a fast car, go to Oral Hershiser Chevrolet. If you're looking for a truck, if you're looking for any sort of vehicle, Equinox is a great one. I drive that one. That one's awesome. So make sure to check out oshebby.com. That is the place where you're going to start to find your next vehicle. Now back to the show.
Welcome back from the break. We are going to introduce a new segment called In the Booth. Adam and I are going to talk about something that was said in the booth of a sporting match that we have been watching recently. This week's In the Booth is, and they're typically going to be something Boog and JD say, just because we worship Boog and JD on this show. But Boog and JD were talking, and they're in Cincinnati. There was a sound effect that kept being played over the loudspeakers that Boog was trying to figure out where it was from. And they finally figured out that the sound effect was from the movie Inception. Boog turns to JD and says, "Did you ever see Inception?" JD says no. And he asked Boog if he'd seen it. And Boog said, yeah. JD asked, out of 5 stars, how many stars are you giving it? And Boog said 3.5. And I'm going, 3.5 stars for Inception? Adam, are you on board with Boog's 3.5 stars for Inception, or does Inception deserve a little bit more than that?
I heard this and I kind of squinted at it. I was like, 3.5. That seems a little low. Now
for Inception, yeah.
Now I have a question.
He followed it up. He didn't even talk about Inception. He followed it up by saying he remembered where he was at because he had gone into the Expendables. I don't know if he had like gone into the Expendables. He said he walked out of the Expendables, and then maybe he walked into Inception. He didn't really tell that story very well, or I'm missing some of the context there. But 2 things on that. Number 1, don't you know what you're getting into with the Expendables? I mean, I don't think anybody who goes into that movie is like, what? This is terrible. I'm walking out of here. It's like, no. You knew exactly what you signed up for. But in seat, you know what you're about to go through for the next 2 hours. So I'm a little surprised that Boog was like, I'm walking out of this garbage, whatever. But then I'm going back to, yeah, Boog, whoa, Inception deserves a little bit more than 3.5 stars.
First of all, on the Expendables, the original version of Expendables, which was Predator. Well, it's probably not. Predator probably wasn't even the original. There's probably a movie way back that set this, get all the old action stars together on screen. But Predator is actually good. Like, Predator is a fun movie. That's just an aside. I just want to mention that.
I didn't think. Well, no. I'm going to be. I didn't think Expendables was terrible, only because I knew what I was going into. When the expectation is here, it's a pretty low bar.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine.
I would also say
I signed up for this.
If Boog did walk into Inception like 20 or 30 minutes late, I would definitely say, yeah, maybe 3.5 is a fair thing, because you are going to be real confused.
Or he's already walking in. He's already walking in sour from being let down, thinking that the Expendables was some highbrow, like, couture, like it was some sort of avant-garde film that he wanted, and he's like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then he walks into Inception immediately after, and he's kind of going, I don't get it. Three and a half
Yeah, well,
stars.
it's just a pretty hard movie to like. It's not Tenet. Tenet makes no sense, and I love Christopher
And it,
Nolan. Christopher Nolan.
oh, see,
Christopher Nolan is my favorite filmmaker. Okay, let's.
yes.
I'm not here
Yes,
to hate
same
on Christopher
here. And I
Nolan.
think that's where maybe some of the, as you said, you squinted a little bit when he said 3.5 stars. And I just went like, huh? Like a Joker, like, hmm,
Yeah,
3.5 stars. But I think some of that is precipitated by our love for Christopher Nolan.
yeah.
It's like, whoa, 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 you're dissing Nolan here. You don't diss Nolan,
No, no, no.
except for, again,
Unless it's Tenet.
Tenet is the one that doesn't make sense. But
The
yeah, continue.
Tenet's the one that doesn't hold together. Um,
Yeah.
I have a question though about scale. Does it make a difference if it's on a 10-point scale instead of a 5-point
Yes.
scale? Like if
Yes.
if Boog said to you, "Oh, Inception is 7 out of 10," would you still look at him and go, "That's too low"?
Yeah, that's a great point. Scale is everything. Scale frames the entire conversation. Because if you said 7 out of 10, I'm not as like, huh?
Yeah.
As a 3.5 out of 5, even though it's equivalent.
Yeah,
But even
if you
then,
need a little
7,
help
I'm
with
kind of going,
math, if
well,
you need a little help with math, which maybe we should bring in Alyssa. If you double 5 and
yeah,
3.5,
yeah,
it
it's
is
equivalent.
7 and 10. Yeah.
So I'm not, yeah, it just makes it softens it a little bit. If
Well,
you
yeah,
stretch the scale out to 10 and you're going 7 out of 10, I'm like, oh, okay.
why does three and a
I mean,
half?
if it's out of 10, what do you give it Inception?
Well, that's where I'm going. Like 3.5 out of 5 sounds way. Why does 3.5 out of 5 sound way more harsh than
Way
7
worse
out of
than
10?
7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd give
How we deal with
Inception.
numbers.
I think I'd give Inception an 8 out of 10 if I were grading it. Maybe an 8.5. I'd probably give it an 8.5. But yeah, it's funny numbers. It's funny how framing
Numbers are
things,
very funny.
but
Yes, they're hilarious.
I just feel like 7 out of 10 is less harsh. I don't know.
It is less harsh. I'm giving Inception an 8.5 or 9 out of 10. Now we'd have to go into, and this is probably a 3-part episode. Like, as in, we need 3 separate episodes to kind of fully flesh all of this out. Is like, how do you rate movies? Part of my calculus is the cultural impact it has had. Inception has had a cultural impact. It has had staying power. Great score, which is why they're using the sound effect from it. So I think for all of those factors that I bake into my rating system, it's pretty high. It's 8.5 or 9 out of 10 for Inception.
You know what's interesting? If I were just rating that movie against every single movie, maybe I'd rate it a little bit higher. But in my mind, I'm ranking it against other Christopher Nolan movies, and I'm going like
Yeah, no, that's a good, because Dark Knight
yeah,
is 10 out of 10 for me.
yeah.
And because that's also you're right. It's like you measured against other Nolan movies, and I'm going, because he made Dark Knight, Inception is now it's not as good as that movie.
Yeah,
Right
it's
there.
like for me, and it's like Dark Knight, and then an Interstellar, and like Oppenheimer
Yes.
somewhere in there. Like,
Yep, Interstellar is up there
many,
as well. 9.5 or 10,
he's
somewhere
got
in
so
there.
many
Yep.
good ones that in my mind, when I think about Inception, I'm going like, well, I'm rating Inception against like Dunkirk and all these other ones, and
Yeah.
I can't necessarily put that in the correct.
No, for me, it's Dark Knight and then all the rest. Even though Interstellar is a very close second, but it's Dark Knight and then the rest. And man, that is a great filmography right there. That's a good catalog.
Dark Knight 10 out of 10, Interstellar like 9.7 out of 10, and then Expendables 9.6 out of 10.
Perfect.
All right.
All right.
Moving on to our second slap bunt, which ends up turning into the home run.
Yeah.
We are in a pretty weird spot in the sports calendar. So this happens every year. Now, FIFA doesn't happen every year. It happens every 4 years. And obviously FIFA.
The World Cup.
The World Cup. The World Cup is happening right now. Argentina is going to play Spain on Sunday for the World Cup. If you've listened
won't
to this
be able
podcast,
to watch. We'll be at the Cubs Twins game at Wrigley on Sunday, so we'll not be able to watch that one.
If you listened to this podcast before, which you haven't because we don't have any repeat listeners,
Right.
you'll know that we're not.
They get wise real quick. Yeah.
We're
Anybody who accidentally stumbles upon this, they go, "What on earth?" and they never come back. Good for you.
You know that we're not the biggest World Cup fans and we're not the biggest World Cup followers. So I think, again, knowing that context about us when we criticize this year's sports calendar, just know that it's because we're not really paying attention to the World Cup.
Although
But
I watched both of the semifinal games. Did you watch any of the Spain-France
no,
matchup or the Argentines versus the English?
I didn't. Should I have?
Okay.
Should I have?
Both were fairly good games. Spain looked phenomenal. I texted my buddy who is a soccer nut, and all I said was, "Am I watching this wrong, or does Spain just look so precise and their game is so graceful right now?" And he goes, "So Spain looked exquisite.
Can you
It was
repeat that? Can you repeat
beautiful.
that? Because your internet just went out right when you about to finish that sentence.
Spain looked precise
Great.
and graceful, and they were exquisite." My friend agreed. He said,
I
"Yeah,
just
they
want to
look
say
really good."
this for the audience. Thanks for putting up with Andy's shoddy internet and well,
Yes.
his in-laws shoddy internet.
And
But
I'm at my in-laws. There's some extenuating factors as well, as we are now under a smoke haze advisory. There's some wildfires in Canada that make it so we can't go outside. And I
do you
don't know
think
if
that
that has
has
any
do you
ill
think that
effects on
affects
the
the
internet. I
Wi-Fi?
don't know how the internet works. I'm old. I don't do technology. So
We have to move off this topic now before he starts railing against the internet. All right. Anyway,
yeah.
every year there's just kind of a lull right in this area, and obviously, again, you know that we are not the biggest fans of the MLB All-Star Game, and so this
No.
week in particular is a pretty difficult week
A
on the
little
sports calendar.
dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's the summer. People are out doing things. People are out on vacation. I think most people kind of are not noticing it. Maybe you just kind of fill the void with other things. But it's just funny
This is a
when we
great week to go camping.
right, right. There's just not a lot going on in sports. What I find interesting, and I don't, we can have a larger kind of conversation about the sports calendar and how people are getting more savvy about the sports calendar in general. The NBA, again, we talked about this earlier in this episode of Content Machine. Even they kind of just ran out of content this week. Like there's a Fanatics Fest thing coming out, and the Fanatics Fest starts today, and I'm sure we're going to get some content. All the NBA players are there, and LeBron's going to be on a panel, and we're all going to talk about LeBron. But like the Jaylen Brown, all the free agency stuff, trades already happened in the NBA, and the only thing that people want to talk about, which is the aspiration scandal with Kawhi, the NBA doesn't want to talk about, and they're pushing it down. They're probably going to take that out with the trash at some point on some random Friday and just try to slip that in. What do you make of? I'm just going to throw a dead fish on your plate here. What do you make of the sports calendar and this lull? Go ahead and talk so I can stop talking now.
Appetizing. Thank you. I mean, we're going to be rehashing some stuff here. This isn't the 90s Sports Center sports calendar anymore. Like, I remember as a kid getting up and watching Sports Center all morning, even though it was a repeat. It was the same sport. It was an hour-long Sports Center. I think they started at like 7 in the morning or something, and then they'd repeat it until 11, and I'd watch it from 7 to 11. It's the same episode.
Yeah.
It's the same thing over and over and over again. But what they would do is like, hey, we're going over games. Like we are going to give highlights to every single game. And right now it's baseball. You don't do all of the NBA stuff. There was one of the top stories on ESPN today was like the NHL is expanding the season 2 games. It's like that was, I mean, you would have talked about it maybe as like a very quick thing. But now they have like 2 videos on it on ESPN. It's like we're making stories out of we're making hay out of everything out here. The sun is shining and we are making hay.
We have to comment. We have to comment.
Yeah. I think it was during, I mean, specifically this week, the drought of, well, you don't have a lot of like actual sports being played during this week. What would Sports Center of the 90s do? Yes, the ESPYs start during this time. I think the ESPYs have been going for about 30 something years now. I think think they would, a lot of the more journalistic stuff that they would do, like the Bob Lee and the Jeremy, what's his name? Love
Shap.
this guy.
Jeremy
Jeremy
Shap.
Shapp. There we go. Yeah, Jeremy Shapp would do like their long form journalism reports, I think, during this time as well. It's like you get the stuff that's been on the back burner a little bit longer, more detailed. You're building a little bit more of an argument or a case for something or against something. And you're able to present that during this week when it's a little bit more dry. But we don't really have the attention span for Bob Lee or Jeremy Shapp anymore. And so now it is these quick hit, short form videos that it's just saturating everybody's web page, and that's what people consume, like just little morsels, like little snacks.
You know what's funny?
Because that's all we can do.
You know what's funny about Jeremy Shapp is he still does long form stuff. I don't really know for. I think he still works for ESPN, maybe, or maybe he works for EFL. Like I don't really know, but he goes and reports from the Nathan's hot dog eating contest for like how serious Jeremy Shapp is.
Yeah,
for how
love
like
it.
he is like a very well respected, very well sourced
Yeah.
reporter. He then has this thing where he just goes to Nathan's every year and actually tries to do like serious reporting on the Nathan's hot dog eating. It's like the most unironic thing. It's really funny. He went on. I think I listened to it last year. He went on Kornheiser's show and talked about it and how fascinating he is with the entire event.
Huh. Interesting.
Anyway, you brought up the
those guys,
ESPYs.
well, no, stand on there. But Bob Lee also would host Sports Center,
Yeah.
so he was like the behind the outside the lines guy, and then he would also host sports. So it's like he was a working journalist outside of his particular niche of long form journalism. I don't know if there's a space for those guys anymore, and I feel bad for them because I think they're really good at their job.
We're about to sound old again. Journalism isn't what it used to be, and I agree
It's
with you.
not what it used to be.
I agree with you.
Obviously, it's not what it used to be. We're the Bob Lees of our day.
Well, we're not. You and I are not Bob Lee. But I will say, like, what has been sad, in my opinion, is even the well-respected journalists, and maybe this was just us as kids kind of being kids and like romanticizing, but like I remember watching PTI when it first came out and just thinking that Tony and Mike were just the best things in the world. And
yes.
And they were, I thought that show was incredible. And now it's unwatchable to me. Like Michael Wilbon.
I haven't watched it in a while, but why? Are they not? I know they're still running it.
Yeah.
But why is it unwatchable? I haven't seen it in a long time.
I think the last time I watched it, it's just like they've worked out a script now. And I don't think they're as thoughtful anymore with their now. It just feels like they're going through the motions. Like, and I think even Tony has referenced this in his podcast of just like, we kind of know what roles we are now. We've been doing this for 20, 30 years or whatever. And it's
they became institutionalized. Yeah.
Right. And particular, I mean, I still love Tony and I haven't listened to his podcast as much anymore. I still love Tony, but Wilbon has become, he's become a little bit more Stephen A. Smithy of just like, I'm just going to say stuff and it doesn't really matter. And he, I even noticed that on when he appeared on ESPN 1000 in Chicago of just like, he's just becoming kind of like this bombastic
part of the machine.
He's like a caricature of what he used to be. So yeah, we are old and we do wish for the Bob Lees and Jeremy Shepps to come back.
Or the old Tony and Mike. I mean, like you said, we worship them. I watched PTI regularly almost for 15 years. I think it started in late 90s, 90, because they just had didn't they have their 30th year? So maybe 90s, no, 25 years, whatever it was.
No, I think it's for a really long time. I think they started in 2001.
2001?
I think so.
No, I think 25 years was it was like 2 years ago.
Maybe.
Okay, so anyway, we're around 25 years. Around 25 years they've had PTI. I watched PTI regularly for close to 15 of those years. Have not seen it past, 10 years or whatever, just being overseas, not having ESPN or anything like that. Those shows, and I'm going to put it Around the Horn, and although Around the Horn didn't have as much success, we both, I think, love Tony Reale as well.
Yeah.
Those guys, they knew how to do something new. They did something different than what had been done before. And there was still some quality journalism in there. I actually like the format of Around the Horn of getting different regional takes from different journalists, people writing about sports on that show. It's again, I'm just going to go back to, and this again, a much longer conversation going over a lot of the different factors that feed into this, but we just don't have that media landscape anymore. That's why Around the Horn just ended. That's why PTI now is just a shell of its former self, where it's just a, hey, just click the button and go through the script. Those types of shows don't really play in an internet media heavy landscape.
Philip Airtime, write down Media Landscape Podcast. And just for the listener, if you see that come across your feed, just know that that is going to be an extraordinarily depressing podcast to listen to, because Andy and I are going to rip modern culture, similar to what I did earlier in this podcast about everybody seeking emotional highs. It's going to be more of that, and we are just going to rip people, and we are going to rip how thoughtless people are, especially in the media. So just forewarn on that one. Before we wrap
we will
up,
drop so many Neil Postman references.
Neil
It will
Postman.
be sickening.
Yeah. That one's gonna be dark. In fact, I might do something like, we might just put our set, like wherever we record, it might just be darker based on the episode that we have. Like I might just
setting a somber atmosphere, being like, look,
or
we're
I might
gonna
have to do it.
We're 1 foot out the door. Like we're in Armageddon. Yeah.
I might have
Media
to do
landscape, Armageddon.
I might have to do it in post, where I just like lower the exposure of the lights throughout the episode, depending on the mood of what we're talking about. You brought up the ESPYs. Is it just me, or is the ESPYs like a joke? Does anyone care about the, like, I know everybody goes. But does anybody take it seriously? Like, it just looks like a, hey, we're going because we want to party with our friends. It's not a serious thing, is it?
I can't say. I mean, for me, no. I haven't watched the ESPYs ever. But yeah. I mean, maybe I'm not the target audience for this one. So I don't know.
That's my question.
I don't know. This is another like vestige. This is another vestigial organ. This is an appendix that we need to remove. It's like, well, it's there. We might as well leave it there. It's not doing any harm. I think that's what the ESPYs is right now. Of, well, we've been doing this for about 30 years. We might as well do it. And you're right. It's probably just more for the athletes and media personalities who are like, let's just have an excuse to have a massive party. This is a great time to do it because there's a little bit of a dry spell in the sports calendar during this week. You don't really get this week any other time, maybe except for February after the Super Bowl, although you still have NBA games and NHL games at that point in time. But this is the only week where there's really no major sport being played. So it's a great time to do it. But yeah, it's like, all right. Not good. This is like the, let me go like, wow, I'm going to go dark here, but this is just an elite event where all of these elite are going and it's partying with each other and probably, I don't know, doing all sorts of nefarious things. I'm not going to go there. But yeah, I don't know anybody who references, any normal person, any one of us, any of the plebs who are referencing the ESPYs or getting excited about watching the ESPYs or caring about the ESPYs at all. This is a vestigial organ is all it is.
If you want to see an ESPY in real life, Legends Attic, Claremont, California, come on in. 401 on that. After we have an
after
ESPY,
we crap all over the ESPYs. If you want a spot at the next ESPYs.
We have an ESPY on display. It's beautiful. You should come and see it. Legends Attic, 619 West Foothill Boulevard in Claremont, California. No, I don't know.
We're terrible at this job, by the way.
I know. I don't understand what the ESPYs are for. I work in the entertainment industry, and I've never really understood. I mean, the Oscars, I suppose, like, I get it. And
even the Oscars are dying.
Well, the Grammys is like,
the landscape is changing a little bit.
I don't know anybody who watches the Grammys. I don't know a single person who watches the Grammys. The Emmys and the Oscars, I think people care. at least out here. But I don't. It's such an insular thing, and I just like
Yeah.
for ESPN to like say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna just hand out awards that I don't even know who votes on these awards." Like it could be the intern just saying, "Yeah, they get the award." Is it a peer thing? I don't even understand. I don't understand it. But it's just such a made up thing. I just don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, we're fabricating meaning everywhere. Back to what we've already said of the whole it's media landscape stuff. This may have had some importance to some people, may have had larger cultural significance at some time. I'm not only talking to the ESPYs, but you brought up the Oscars, Grammys, Emmys as well. Like, yeah, they used to be probably higher ratings for most of these things, let's say back in the 80s or 90s, especially. But because of the tectonic shifts in the media landscape, I'm sorry, these things are now, they are like bag phones that mom used to have in her car. Like these are just like they're they're things that belong in a museum as more of a nostalgic uh event that we used to do and be like, oh, that's nice. Look at what we used to do. But we still pray about like they yeah. For now, the Grammys, the Emmys, the Oscars, I don't know if this is, I don't think it is the case for the ESPYs. Now it's more of an opportunity for fashion designers than anything. I think any sort of attention that is given to them, it's for something else. It's not for the event itself. It's either for some sort of political reason, it's for fashion, it's for the people attending it themselves. Again, it's for the parties. It's not, it doesn't have any of the same meaning that it once did when it did have, let's say, real meaning or true meaning.
I've been smirking a lot in this episode just because I'm so proud of how
That I lived up to the billing.
the
Yeah.
theme of this episode was how old can these two guys
Yeah.
sound? And we just nailed
We
it on
did it. We did it.
every single segment. We showed
Yeah.
you, man, we should definitely be in Friendship Village.
Yep.
Joey did not text back, so we don't know if the
Ah.
Tigers are still in it. We'll check back in later.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
have been listening.
Well, we're going to see him next week.
Yeah.
So we might have to have him on the show live and in person.
You have been listening to you've wasted another perfectly good hour and a half listening to this
Yeah.
podcast. You've listened to Andy and I be very, very old men. And I got to tell you something. Right after this is done, I'm taking a nap. So that's coming for me. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for listening.
I'm going to go bird watching. I can't go outside because of the wildfires. I can't.
Yeah, there are
I
no
can't even go
birds.
bird
There are no
watching.
birds. They're hiding from the wildfire smoke. Our executive producers are Eddie, the head of the Jackson Dart and Anne Hathaway Social and Pleasure Club, Alizade. Our other executive producer is Christian Too Short Shorts, father of Frankie Alizade, born over the weekend.
Congrats.
Congratulations to Christian and Mary. Our producer is Philip Airtime. Our researchers are Anita Lotmore and Dustin Shelves. Let me pull up the rest of our list because I thought we hired somebody, but I don't remember if we did. Our staff therapist is Amanda Hugginkiss. Our desk chair testers are Wilma Buttfit and Fitz Matush. Our director of grade disputes, who, again, is still just sitting in her cubicle twiddling her thumbs, is Viola Fuss because she has nothing to grade. Our dermatologist for teenagers is Don Pickett. Our quality control officer is Lois Barr. And our human resources manager is Pat Matukis. He is back from his suspension. we're trying to hire Hanky Panky. We had to suspend him, but he is back. So that hire is working out really, really well. Thank you so much for listening. We may or may not be back next week. Actually, we'll be in person. Both Andy and I will be, I think, in the same room, which
same room.
Sight to see. I bet
if it doesn't devolve, which there's a high likelihood it does, if it doesn't devolve into South Haven, the great pizza fiasco.
That is a story for another
we
time.
will be able to sit in the same room and not want to punch each other in the face. Yeah.
There's a good chance that next week's episode is a marathon episode, and there's a good chance that there might be some like family drama aired out on the episode. So if you,
I hope so.
Little teaser, our parents are in an aging. We're gonna be talking to them about that stuff. And you know what? We might just put it on the podcast just for
Yeah,
fun.
well, we should not do that, but I can definitely see. I can definitely see mom coming in while we're recording and be like, "Mom, we told you we're doing this, not to come downstairs." Well, I just got to do a couple things down here,
Oh, she
and
is 100.
mom just, yeah,
She will
mom is
100.
interrupting.
She will 100% vacuum during the
Yes,
podcast.
she will. Oh, absolutely. She will vac. It's like
She will
there is
vacuum.
no way we are getting through an episode in the next 2 weeks if we do it the next week without mom like busting in at some point in time. She's like, "Mom, come on."
Vacuuming right in front of the camera, or
Yep.
depending on where we do it, like if we do it at the dining room table, she'll just start making iced tea. She'll just start taking out the ice cubes and just
Yes,
pouring them
ice.
all
Oh man,
iced
it's
tea.
all she is moving ice from one receptacle to another half of her day. I don't know why, but there's always ice being moved just as loud as possible from this receptacle to the next receptacle. Yeah, it's great. You're gonna get a little. We're gonna pull back the curtain a little bit, and you're gonna see the family. You're gonna see why we are the way we are. It's because, well, we came from the two people you're about to meet next week. Yeah.
Wow, that was a professional tease. Let's get out of here. I got to go take a nap.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Have a great week.